Ashes to Ashes was David Bowie's 1980 single. The purpose was to promote this single, which would lead to his 1980 album, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Its form was a live-action, very cinematic production, and it was quite dystopian in its features, used bright colours, which was imposed to create a vibe of another world which Bowie created throughout his music in the 1970s. It was extravagant costumes and abstract scenery. Long shots suggest that Bowie is actually in the world he's created. The video doesn't follow a linear structure. It cuts from shot to shot, indicating weirdness from weirdness in Bowie's music, and it follows the glam rock music scene at the time and is aimed at a widespread mainstream audience and Bowie's following that he's built up over the 70s. In the music video for Jay-Z featuring Alicia Keys' Empire State of Mind, it goes through a day in New York, talking about all the great places and the not so great places there are in New York, with ultimate skyline views, and looking at some of the gritty places of New York which Jay-Z talks about, and how he's been through both sides of New York, and some shots of Jay-Z looking out at New York, seeing what the city's like and how it's a city of opportunity. The video helps combine the mix between hip-hop and pop genres, with Jay-Z doing the rap and Alicia Keys singing. The video places contrast between when Jay-Z is just standing in the street rapping, and then by the end of the video, both of the artists are standing on the steps, indicating how far they've come and how different New York can be for the rich and famous, and overall follows a narrative of the life of someone who lives and has been brought up in New York. In Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill video, it tells the story of Ed Sheeran reminiscing about his childhood. It cuts from Ed driving in his car now to a younger version of himself growing up in his hometown. The song and video is very clever because everyone can relate to themselves thinking about their childhood and how they've lost touch with their friends who made their childhood and made the people who they are. It tells a nice story about what life was like before Ed Sheeran became a megastar. The production creates a flashback which is very realistic in the way it's produced, with the flashbacks following a very linear structure. In We Are Young by Fun, the video shows a story between a bar and a live band. At the start, it looks like the live band is going to be a live performance music video, and then it cuts to a bar with a lady standing next to it, which shows the story of the song. And then soon a fight breaks out, and it goes mental, and the band are caught in the crossfire. The genre is very pop and maybe a little bit of indie rock, and the form is live action. It plays out very cinematic, like maybe a TV show, and there's a lot of choreography in there. Slow motion's used. There's close-ups to show the band and how they're playing, and then there's long shots to show the whole bar area and all the hell breaking loose. In Queens, I Want to Break Free, the musicians all are in a terrace household dressed as women, doing their house chores as a woman would stereotypically do in the 1970s, and it goes along with the story of wanting to break free with the song, and it enters into the whole imagination of a woman breaking free into the whole world of Queen, which is absolute madness, and it's very cinematic, and it enhances visually by the light on Freddie Mercury throughout the whole music video, and then it cuts back to the household with the women doing the housework in the house. It was rock but mainstream in the 1970s for its genre. It was live action with some very dystopian type imagery. The band used the controversial nature of them dressing up as women to their advantage, as it gained a lot of press and therefore promoted the song and was a very popular song. The Dancing Around the World music video by David Bowie and Mick Jagger is clever in its promotional tools, but has the overall message of the whole Live Aid production in 1985, culminating in the huge concert. It's an old Motown song that got created into the rock and roll song by two of arguably the biggest names in world rock music at the time, but David Bowie and Mick Jagger, and that's why the video mainly focuses on the pair, using mid and long shots, getting them dancing with the whole message of dancing around the street, but then uses the close-up to get the star power of David Bowie and Mick Jagger, because their names meant a lot back in the mid-1980s. That's why it isn't got a massive production. It's not very cinematic. It's just a cut of lots of scenes of them dancing in various different settings. But the tool of the music video in this case was mainly used to promote the wider message of the Live Aid, which raised millions and millions of pounds for children in Africa.